trying to be conscious, combing this all 90 to where it lives, because I want to get this sort of top little section all scaled out and squared away.
What do you mean by where it lives?
Just 90, 90, 90, right out off the head. Notice I do a lot of ganging sections. I grab a lot of large sections. So that means when I come through and cross track, I have to take some of the points out. I have to take some of the inconsistencies out because by condensing sections like that, I tend to have waviness in the finish. So I have to come back through, take some of that waviness out. Okay, I'm fairly comfortable with what I got there. That's that top center section, shaped like a triangle, spiky, at about 1.25 inches all the way around. Literally every single hair on the head, all the way around the head, is gonna come straight up from wherever it lives towards the ceiling and get cut to that guide. The edges of this triangle are my guides. Does everybody understand where I'm going? So watch what this is gonna look like. The front fringe, I scaled out the fringe. I'm gonna bring it up. See the guide? The front edge of the triangle is the guide. There's the guide. Check for my guide. Cut across. Okay, I move over to here. I look for my guide. There's the guide. Everybody sees the guide? If I go to cut something, if you don't see what I mean to cut, ask. Okay, when I bring this up, where am I gonna bring this to?
To the guide.
To the guide, right up to the guide. Now notice, because, principles of over direction, because that guide was just inside the hairline, that front edge stays a little longer. See how we're getting a little bit of fringe on it? A little bit of funky mullet thing starting to go on here. Now I'm gonna do the two sides. The difference now is, instead of a straight line like the way we used to cut it old school, this line is at a diagonal. So all of the hair on this side of the head, and I can do this in a series of partings parallel to the guideline. If that's my guideline, I'm going to take a parting parallel to my guideline. I'm going to bring it up to my guideline. What happens to every hair that's being combed up now?
Over-directing.
Over-directed. What happens to every hair that's being combed up now? It's getting what? Longer. It's got to travel farther. And because this point is not here, what's going to happen to this hair behind the ear? It's going to travel even farther. Basic principles of over direction. Length increases opposite the cutting point. I bring that all, see now my guide is getting big and thick and meaty because I brought so much hair up to that guide. There's no question, you can clearly see that guide. Every time I bring a section up to the guide is clear and distinct and visible. Okay? And now some of this stuff won't even reach anymore. But I'm going to continue to comb it all up, all the way up, all the way up. Now, by the way, when I am done with this guy, if I flip him over and hang him upside down, what will he look like?
Flat top.
He looks like a flat top, absolutely. But look what started to happen here. This is all layered and shaggy. Okay, now I'm going to finish this side. I'm going to go to my center back. This is all the last of this from the guide. And there's another kind of thing that's cool about this haircut that I like to share. I like to do this haircut at Cos and barber schools. And one of the reasons I like to cut it at Cos and barber schools is this portion of this haircut is a scissor cut. When I go to undercut the corners on the mullet, it's a clipper cut. After I undercut, when I have the overhang from the interior and I have too much length here at the bottom, what tool am I going to use to finesse the edges on that? I'm going to use a razor. So I end up with scissor, clipper, razor. I'm showcasing all my tools. I need a trimmer to line an edge around the faded area. So it ends up being a wonderful way to showcase all the tools and all their capability. On this side, I know the guideline is a diagonal line from just inside the hairline to the rear corner. Is everybody with me on that? Makes sense? Smile and nod. Let me know you know what I mean.
It's like Axl Rose.
You know what? You will recognize this guy. Bring it everything up to the diagonal line. Back here to the point in the rear, at the top crown. Bring it up and look for that diagonal. And my fingertips should be pointing to the corner, and the base of my fingers should be further back into the head when I do that, because this is on a diagonal. And I'm not too concerned about the bottom here, because the bottom is going to go away when I do my undercut. Does that make sense? Okay, in the rear corner here, I'm just going to bring this up in groups to the top. Essentially, all up to that triangle on top. You got the top, you got the back, you got the insides. There's two things I need to do. Number one, I need to scale out and undercut the clippered portion. I'm going to scale it out. We're going to say, how much of this do we want? I'm going to go from the high point in the recession area. And one of the things, as I said before, we were talking about it, we're doing with these, is we're taking these behind the ear more than we used to. We're taking these like down behind the ear and almost curving them forward. That whole area there, disconnected and undercut. Let's put this in here. We're going to take that off. So you did all that top. Some of the stuff came up and got cut. Some of it didn't reach when you brought it up. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Now we're going to come in. What's that? It's a 1. For the purposes of demoing it on the mannequin. Just want to get the bulk down out of this. You can come in to whatever extent and fade this in whatever way you want it. But here, I'm going to come in, I'll curve this up, almost like a burst fade maybe, inside underneath the ear. But once you've isolated this, you can spend as much or as little time tweaking this as much or as little as you want. This could be faded, or this could be just a distinct one guard and done. Can we do it the exact same way on the other side? Could we do it different on the other side? Does it have to be symmetrical? There's certain people that live in a regimented world in which my wife would tell you it absolutely has to be the same on both sides. It's like organizing pillows on a couch. You know, you got to have 2 and 2, otherwise it doesn't work. I'm like, no, we can have 3 and 1. She's like, no, you can't. Okay? It can be asymmetric like that. Scale it out on the other side. High point on the recession area. Isolate it and cut it. Now, here's where the fun part comes in. The question now becomes, because now you've got, because we layered this first and now it drops down, see how it's more broken and ragged? It doesn't have a hard line. I'm not going to put a hard line. Last thing I would ever want to do is cut across that with the scissors. I've got too much length here. I've got this nice longness here because that traveled to the corner at the top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak this length with a razor. I'll customize some of that with a razor because all of this, like left to right, is all symmetrical and everything because it all came up to the consistent top guide. And now all we do, I grab a razor, a wide tooth comb. I also believe, like blending scissors, razors should always be used with a wide tooth comb because a razor is all about texture. Where does the hair go and do when it goes and does what it wants to go and do? Why would you razor cut with a fine tooth comb? It doesn't make any sense at all. Unless you're razor cutting a bob, in which case that's a different kind of thing. But now I would come in and just sort of mess with this. That's a feather razor, yeah. It's got the built-in guard. Yeah. But you can come in here if you want to take some texture off of it, take some weight out of it. This technique, if you see what I'm doing, you guys do this. There's 3 things going on. I'm pinching the hair between my thumb and the razor blade. I'm twisting the razor blade, and then I'm pulling the hair away. It's pinch, twist, and pull, pinch, twist, and pull. I'm doing it as one smooth, fluid motion, but there's 3 distinct things going on. If you pinch the hair and you pull them right up out of the chair. Razors cut at an angle. At 90 degrees like that, the razor blade will not cut. But as soon as you get 1 degree off 90, even a dull razor will cut a lot. So you pinch, twist, and pull. You do that 3-step motion. So now I look at this length here and I go, all right, how long do I want this to be? I'm going to take this to like the base of the mannequin. But I want to keep it soft. Now, if this is still a little long and heavy because a lot of this didn't reach, I can pull this out away from the head to the side. And just take some bulk out of it. If you like to point cut, you can point cut forever and never get it that soft. This is why what comes out of the drawer, what do you pick up, what are you looking for from a textural standpoint? You could point cut for years and never be able to get the softness you can get out of a razor. Now, this right here, what I want to do with this, I come in, just take a little of that out, and these, for over direction, these are really cool.
Is that one of your combs here?
Yeah, this is one of the ones I have. I'm going to come in like this. See how that does that? These are just cool toys. But notice how I did that. I lay it into the comb and then just come on it.
When you use with the razor, you also do the over, under, over. Same still applies.
Not in the same way. There's a difference between cutting on the tension side of the hair versus the non-tension side of the hair. So let me show you what I mean by that. When we hold hair in our fingers, hair is held under tension. If I take this section of hair and I comb it up here, this flopping around like that, that's called the non-tension side of the hair. It's flopping around, I'm grabbing it, and I'm peeling away that length like that. Underneath here, that's the tension side of the hair. If I want to be more precise in my razor cutting, I will take sections of hair, I'll comb them up, I'll set the razor in underneath on the tension side of the hair, fold the hair over the razor, and look at the remnant. I get like a nice distinct cut like that. Okay, that's tension side cutting. That gives me more control over what the razor does or doesn't take. Because I'm setting the razor in at the base of my fingers, pulling it through like that. And you'll notice the remnant in my hand while I'm peeling away on the hair. Watch I'm not going to let go of the remnant this time. Okay?
Some of it doesn't.
It's got a much cleaner line to it because I literally set it on there and pulled it away. The hair on the head slid through my fingers and created that effect. But we talk about breaking this up. I mean, we could do this all day and it would just continue to get more broken and more shaggy and more piecey and more fun. But when you consider that most people, and I just don't want to be most people would start this haircut by clipping off all this stuff and doing this first. However, I wanted the advantage of being able to hold on to that stuff. I wanted to be able to comb it all up, be able to hold it all and cut it before I fought with it. If I wanted to now get this up to the top, it's a struggle. But it was so much easier to carve all this, cut the top first. You did it on your haircut. You did it on your haircut. We talked about it on your haircut, cutting the top first. Cut the top. Same thing with your dude. Cut the top first. To me, with men's hair, it just makes so much sense. Unload the top, get your shape on the top. Because this, in most cases, almost all cases, the hair on the top of the head is going to be the longest hair on the head. With most guy haircuts. Get this squared away first, and then this stuff. What did it take to do this? Clipped it up out of the way and zipped it off. And if you wanted to spend another half hour really fine-tuning the fade on the undercut, fine. If that's what you're choosing to do. But in this case, this is absolutely marketable as a modern mullet. But in 1989, when I was cutting them, you couldn't undercut that. You'd have to blend that up in a way. And by the way, could I still take a clipper comb out and take that off square? Sure, could.